Good day everyone, it's Caitlin and today we are making a World War I canteen service dress.
I'm gonna have to iron this. It's really wrinkly.
So, working on the dress, did mess up slightly. So I was sewing at the placket, and I sewed it to the right side. But I don't think I really care that much, so we're going to keep it. But this is the right side, so I do need to flip it over for this. We're going to finish the placket. All I do is hem the placket, and so the side seams as we discussed earlier. So I have my placket. And I'm looking at these pictures in the pattern. Y'all know I don't follow patterns well, so this is going to be very interesting. So it looks like I fold this, and I fold this over this way. And wait. No, not that far over, just that way. And this over this way. And really stitch that down well. That's what I understand. Okay. I'm just going to pin this here for a second. And I'm using a trial sewing machine. It is later, 1930, I think. But it is the only one in this whole fort that works. And I need this dress tomorrow. So we're using it. Had I had time, I would have used my great-grandmother's treadle, which is 1907, which would be perfectly appropriate for a 19-teens outfit. But, oh well. When I first started working on it, it wasn't cooperating, and so I texted Susan, who is my go-to, this old sewing implement isn't working thing, what do I do? She's that person. So she was able to help me out with this. Getting it all nice and working. Okay. So the placket is done. That's still attached to the bobbin. Alright. So at least I have a placket now. That's the good news. I still need to finish the French seams on the sides. Let me thread this in. Okay. Which I may as well go ahead and do. Oh, did you get some dirt on it? Got some dirt on it. You know what? It's just dirt. It'll come off. How did I do that wrong? Okay, we're going to do the placket again. Once I do this, and I'm just finger pressing everything because I don't have an iron right now, which is not ideal, but it's working, sort of. Doing that, I'm going to redo this placket. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take it out. I just got to put it backwards. And once that's done, it's a really simple sack apron dress, so it's really not a lot of work. It's just me trying to figure out this whole system because I'm not used to this. I haven't done 20th century clothing since I was in college, and that was at least 9 years ago, so it's been about a decade since I've done 20th century reenacting, and this is my first time diving into World War I. But really after this and finishing the placket, it's going to be hemming, which I'm going to do by hand just with regular hem stitch, and buttons, buttonholes, which need to be done by hand. And the neckline. Neckline is going to be the biggest thing. I'm trying to get to the point where it's just hand stitching so that I can go home, we can watch a movie and we can hand stitch.
Yes, I would love that. I haven't watched a movie in a while.
I know, we've been too busy.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna collect a few things and I'll be right back.
Okay. So it looks like really none of the sleeve bits are fitting, which is fantastic. Yeah, after much fiddling with the sleeves, we're doing pockets. I have one sleeve in, the other one isn't in yet. But I'm going to work on pockets for a second. So my fiance very lovingly pinned them for me, and now all I have to do is stitch them. They do seem very high up to me, but it's what's on the pattern, so we're going to hope it works. Alright, so I need to put in the other sleeve. I still haven't, sewn the rest of the cuff on, but that's handwork. What I'm trying to do now, because I am not at the house, I am off the fort, and so my goal right now is to simply get all the things done that I need to do by machine, and that way I can sew by hand tonight while watching a movie. So that is the goal here. It's a very wide shoulder seam or arm side. But I also do not have to pipe, which I'm happy about. I think I mentioned it earlier, I'm leaving the hem alone. I'll do that at the house because I'm doing that by hand. And once the sleeves go in, pockets are in, it's really just neckline binding and collar. Which according to the pattern, the collar gets snapped in. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do it like an actual collar. And it makes sense the way they do it because then you can unsnap the collar and wash it separately, but I'm not going to be wearing this dress that much, and quite frankly, that's just, I don't have any snaps with me, is really what the issue is. And I know I'm not going to find any because all the people around me who do sewing do 19th century before, pre-snap. So I'm not going to be able to find any. And there are no towns anywhere nearby, so or at least not one with a store that would carry anything other than groceries. So, and even that selection isn't fantastic. So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get snaps, so we're kind of doing this snapless. I'm going to do buttons where I can, and otherwise we're going to probably just stitch things in as opposed to doing snaps. Alright, both sleeves are in. I think I'm going to take a break before I get into the collar and go ahead and sew this belt. That sounds like a nice fun little thing to do. Alright, here's the belt. The directions did not say to put a binding on it. It said just to sew it right sides out or right sides in and then flip it inside out. But looking at originals, I'm seeing, and all the illustrations as well, I'm seeing a white band on the belt. So I'm going to put a white band on the belt with the same fabric I've been using for the cuffs and all that. And so this is now at this point where it's all handwork. So what I'll do is when I get home, I'm going to iron it. We'll flip it like that and flip it like this, and we'll whip stitch that down so that my front will look something like this. So this is ready to go. So I have binding for the neckline that I cut, and I am going to stitch this on. Alright, so I'm taking that binding and I flipped it over. I'm just whipping it down to the edge. And the pattern again calls for snaps at the collar. It calls for sewing half the collar and snapping the other half because the collar opens in the front and the dress opens in the back. I'm going to have a back opening collar because I don't have any snaps. So it's something where I have so much of this fabric that if later, if I got some snaps, pretty sure there are some at the house actually, but I'm 3 hours away from the house, so that doesn't do me any good. But if I get those snaps, then I could like recut the collar and fix it. But for tonight, for the event tomorrow, we're going to have a sewn-in collar, which is actually a lot less work, so I'm strangely okay with this. So after the collar, we're done with machine work on this. Now, I still have an event tomorrow, so I have to finish the cap and the armband, but that'll be the last machine stitching for this video. The other machine stitching will be for next month, but hopefully I can get that done pretty quickly, go home, make dinner, and get my handwork done. At which point I'm going to need to do a button and buttonhole, probably more than one, at the cuffs. I'll just show one buttonhole because I don't want to bore y'all to death, but I'm also going to have to do them at the top or the back. Yeah, there's a nice little cuff. And it's going to sit mostly like this. So I think, yeah, cuff. I think one buttonhole. I think you're technically supposed to have one here too. But I'm not going to worry about that. I think what I might do is tack this cuff down. Yeah, like right here is good. Now it's requiring me to do one little buttonhole right here, so it's less work, which is always helpful. Always enjoyed doing less work than I expected. Alright, one cuff is done. I have another one to do, hemming, and we have a belt to finish. Alright, finally to the important part, the dress. And I have a needle that attached itself to my petticoat. So, I mean, I got it done, barely, but I got it done. Oh crap, this opens up the back. And no one's here to dress me. This is going to be a lot of fun. We will do our best, and it may not be fully done up. I could probably do the top button, or maybe the first couple buttons. It's loose enough, I may be able to do them all. That needs to be hidden just a little bit better. Okay. I can probably, ooh, I can reach them all. Hey, cool, I can dress myself. That's cool. I didn't think I could. Maybe my fiance do it last time, so that's good to know. Alrighty. The sleeves are a little bit long, but that's to be expected because I have short arms. Let's put on the belt. But I did not put buttons on the belt. And I'll explain why I did pins on my mouth. Okay. Alright, that's a little bit better. I can talk now. Anyway, I did not put buttons and buttonholes on it. And I've seen some that were buttoned and had buttonholes. I've also seen some images of women who just tied them around their waist. And I didn't want to be confined by the buttonholes. They pin just fine, or it pins just fine. So I wasn't terribly concerned about it just being, like, it's still functional this way, but if I wanted to tie it, I still could without the buttons and the buttonholes being, you know, weirdly hanging down. So that's it. And that's what I decided to do. But yeah, there's the whole thing. I got called a nurse all day long, the whole day. Oh, you should ask her. She's a nurse. You should ask her about how nursing worked in World War One. I'm actually not a nurse. I'm a canteen worker. I serve meals to soldiers at bargain prices. And my little spiel. It worked out great to talk to the public. Like, people were coming up to me, and I was able to segue into it. But I said the word. All right, everyone, it's Caitlin here. Apparently, my camera died, and I cannot find the footage of the rest of the ending of this video. It is nowhere on any of the cameras. It's nowhere on the computer. It's nowhere on my flash drives. No idea what I did with it. So here's a picture of me in all dressed up at the Kingsbury Flight Museum for their November event as the canteen service worker. Anyway, to finish that long rant, basically it was a great way to talk to the public and to introduce the idea of a canteen service worker, even though I did spend a ton of time that day saying, yeah, I'm not a nurse. Still got roped into doing a scenario, like an in-character scenario where they had me as a nurse, and I'm like, I don't know what y'all people are thinking, but I don't belong here. And so I'm out there on the field with these two wounded German soldiers, and I actually leaned over at one of them and said, oh, by the way, I'm not a nurse, I'm a canteen service worker, so I don't know how good your chances are here. And he had to really try to stop laughing. So that was fun. But yeah, I got roped in. Anyway, it was a fun event, and I look forward to doing them again. And yeah, this video was a little bit more disjointed than I was hoping it would be, but that's what happens when I film things and then don't edit for 6 months. I really need to get ahead of that. So anyway, I think we'll go ahead and end it here. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. And as always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here on Monday.